Yeah, I'm good. Mm.
Good. Hi, Don. How you doing?
Hey guys.
Hi. How you doing?
All right, yeah. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you.
You think? He said,
Well, now we've got the pleasantries out of the road. How are you really doing?
Don, do you want to go first? I can. I don't know.
uh, yeah, maybe I will because on a Wednesday I have something else that I do, so I can only do the first like 20 minutes. So, but I like if it's okay dropping in like this,
Absolutely. Yeah, no
Vince.
worries. Yeah.
Um, yeah. So I always like come on here and that always I forget to collect questions. Do you know what I mean when I'm
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well,
practicing?
that's probably good.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah. So I'm still doing my same practice as I'm doing, which is but I have this I was trying to observe, well, I'll give you an example. This morning I woke up and I had what I call anxiety, which is sometimes here, sometimes not. Um and I was reading your some of your recent posts have been about kind of getting sort of into like a peaceful place and then not being in a peaceful place and then sort of wishing you were back in that place. So I guess I relate to that because I'm not quite in tune with what's going on in terms of like I wake up, there's this tension in my gut, which seems to be there prior to me waking up,
Yeah.
prior to thought. It's like I haven't woken up and then thought about something and then got worried. It's just like this. I've woken up
Yeah.
and I'm already in that state. It's
Mm.
there, and my practice is to try and observe it and notice the stories that are coming up. There's some of the stories are quite easy, like, oh, this edit I've got. I'm like, I suddenly had this thought. I won't be able to do the edit without an editor. Whatever. It doesn't matter. Those thoughts,
Mm.
they're quite easy to go, okay, well, that's just the mind kind of. But what's more kind of sticky is just this, like, not wanting to have this feeling. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
This sort of like that's a little
Yeah, I hear what you're saying. And that's a natural.
mm,
That's what you've learned. Right?
mm,
If I was to say to you, what a great thing. It's a good thing that's happening to you, right? What it is is that before the filters turn up, before your avoidance behavior kicks in, that's why it happens when it probably doesn't happen while you're in a deep sleep, but it's probably as you're
mm.
coming out of the deep sleep, as you're coming into that twilight zone between asleep and awake, where there's
Yeah,
no
that
there's no filters. Right?
yeah, that's
And
definitely right. Just
yeah,
just because sometimes I wake up in the night to go to the loo or something like that, maybe 4 a.m. or something, and there's nothing there.
it's not there. Yeah,
Yeah, but
yeah,
it's later that it starts to come in.
yeah. Right. So as much as I get that it's unpleasant, right,
Mm.
right, even unpleasant to almost painful kind of state. It's not. Yeah. Anyway, emotionally
It's
painful at least.
uncomfortable. It's
Yeah, yeah,
uncomfortable.
yeah. Right. But it is like it's like the stop go man with his sign saying you can go now only 25 kilometers an hour. Go slow, right? But you can go right. So it's trying to get your attention. It's trying to tell you
Yeah,
something. Yeah.
yeah,
So the idea of getting rid of it is like saying, I'm not going to listen to you.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I try and tune into it. Um, And it's like I say, try, be open to it, try not to label it, to sort of
Yeah, yeah,
um, welcome it, or listen to it. I've
yes,
sort of asked it what
yeah. And it seems
to
like it's
tell
not
to
cooperative.
speak to
It's
me.
not showing you what it's talking
Not
about.
No, and there's a sort of a story jumps in, which is a sticky one, which is like, oh, this has been going on for years. You just sitting here isn't going to do anything. Whatever.
Mm. So what if I said that the most likely thing is that it is because of a belief you have about yourself, a story you have about Dom.
Yeah, I I can't say I know what that is, but it sort of rings true.
Yeah. So then what would it would seem appropriate to say, well, if it's because I'm being a bit thick, I just have to hang around and wait for things to clarify a little bit. So
Hmm.
patience will say, listen, Dom, you learn to accept me and I'll tell you what's going on.
Yeah,
And to accept it is to recognize or validate or give credibility to that it's trying to do a good thing for you,
yeah,
right?
I,
So
I
it's not,
believe that.
there's no way it's there to punish you.
Mm,
I mean, even if it was, it would still think that's the right thing. It would still think it's trying
yeah.
to do something good for you. But essentially,
Mm,
it's not likely to be that. And another thing that you can almost be sure of is that it goes back a long way.
yeah. Yeah. It feels.
And it probably goes back a lot further than before it started to show itself.
Mm,
So if you can say, well, this happened when a certain something occurred in my life, that was the beginning of it. No, that was just when it first kicked in with this behavior.
yeah.
But what was behind it was already there. But if you can find a beginning of it that is associated with an event or something, some life change happening in your life, then it will tell you the flavor of it.
Yeah. I've had tiny glimpses of things, but you know, it's
Yeah,
very
the
unconscious, I think.
yeah, the really difficult thing, and it is difficult because we've got a lifetime of conditioning that goes against it. It's counterintuitive to say welcome, thank you. Right? We
Mm,
every part of us, every fiber in our being wants to get rid of it.
yeah. So I've got a question then. So when I wake up in the morning, um, that's when I typically meditate, and I end up, I get busy in the day, and then, you know, and I mean, I've been on retreats and I've done different periods of my life where I've done much more meditation, but at the moment I'm just doing probably 45 minutes, sometimes an hour in the morning. But I wake up and either I do or I don't have this sort of sensation. But
Mm,
especially if I do have it, I want to have a coffee because that sort of helps. You know what I mean? It's sort of like it perks me up and I feel slightly more positive and I feel slightly, but I don't know if that straight away is kind of running away from the sensation or trying to push myself into some kind of different.
Yeah. Look, if you see again, this is tricky. It's a recursive kind of thing. If you do find yourself running away from it, that's not wrong. There's
Mm,
value if you recognize that that's what's happening.
yeah,
And if you see it afterwards, if you go, oh, I did that before, you know, I use my meditation or I use my coffee to alter things for me. That's a good recognition, and it tells you something too. It tells you something about the physical nature, the physical aspect of that thing, right? So what? How do
mm,
you? How do you? What makes the body feel anxious? Well, stress hormones,
yeah,
right? And then muscles get tighter, and we hold ourselves. We lack flexibility and fluidity, and so on and so on. So there's a whole range of things that go on. So, I mean, one of the things you just said was sometimes it's there and sometimes it's not. Isn't that interesting? Don't you find that really curious?
yeah,
Yeah, so you can ask yourself when it's not there, what's different to when it is there, other than the thing itself?
yeah. I mean, sometimes I I think I can see a reason, or at least I can find something that I think, oh, this stressful thing's happening in my life at the moment.
Yeah, yeah, but it's
But typically it just comes and goes. It doesn't really sort of
yeah,
align with things too much, you know.
right. Yeah, it's a bit of a trap to say too much. It is the intensity or the flavor of your relationship to it that does it for sure. But it's not just because it's too much. Because the next question is, why do you do that? Why do you do too much? You
Oh
know?
no, I mean, what I was saying was I don't think it doesn't seem to align with stressful things in my life that much.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
It sort of has its own pattern that's sort of independent.
Yeah.
Um,
Which
yeah,
which I find is encouraging. That's a good thing. If you can find a reason for it, that kind of that sucks it dry. You know, that takes away the possibility
mm,
of you finding what's underneath it, right? Because you
yeah,
can blame that. You know, like it's like getting angry and saying, "Well, it's that
yes,
idiot that cut me off that got me angry," when in fact
mm,
all he did was trigger something that was already going.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And do you so coffee aside? I mean, it's not like I'm having really strong stuff or anything. It's just a little. Um,
Yeah.
and when I sit, I definitely I'm not trying to avoid anything at that point, or I don't feel like I am. I'm trying to open to, especially if
Yes.
it's
Yeah.
uncomfortable. Um, but would you encourage like more meditation time, or is it more like just observing through the day, or any in particular?
What I would encourage, what I see that is the value for you is in it's a shitty way to put it, but you'll get what I mean, I think. Right. In working out how to make decisions that are not decisions, how to be guided by circumstances as to what to do. And so I wouldn't say do more, do less. What I would say is be really aware of what your inclination is. What are your impulses to do? Now that doesn't mean to follow them or go with them or resist them. It just means be aware of what they are. And so if you so what I would
Well, maybe
what I
I
would
can.
yeah, go on.
Well, just for an example, for today, you know, um, I'll go and do some training that I do with some friends. We'll go for breakfast. I'll going home, I'll do some editing. I'll walk the dog this afternoon, and then I'll go to like a 12-step meeting, and then we go for fellowship after. So I'm kind of busy till like 9 p.m. now, and
Mm,
I'm really knackered when I get back. So my life tends to have that sort of like quite full. I'm always slightly against the clock, and part of me is going, "Oh, I'd love to just meditate this afternoon," but I don't know. That doesn't seem to happen. It seems that I feel like there's things that sort of keep me grounded or keep me busy or whatever.
yeah. So what's interesting and where I see the value is in you recognizing where the impulses come from. And so if you it's like with a calendar like that, you can spend the day doing what the calendar says.
Yeah,
Now that's fine, right?
yeah,
But I would say that the calendar is offering you a suggestion, not giving you a rule.
mm,
And
yes, right,
so you might go, well, today I'm not going to go to that meeting or I'm not going to do that kind of thing.
yeah.
Where did the impulse to not do it from? Oh, something it was more attractive maybe to go and do something else. Or maybe that was to do nothing.
That's very alive, like very relevant in my life is this sort of relationship I have to my sort of planning and
Hmm,
whatnot, because I do feel kind of bound by my sort of I plan a lot and then I feel bound by sort of the
yep,
commitments that I've made.
right. So you could
And
ask yourself,
the idea of not doing that feels quite,
a
you
bit
know,
frightening.
yeah, I'd say so. I mean,
Hmm,
unsettling, yeah.
yep. So you could ask yourself, why do you lay out such a formal path through life? What's the value of that for you? Now, I'm not suggesting you
Yeah.
shouldn't. I'm just saying, what is your relationship to that?
Yes, control, I guess.
Yeah. So you impose
Or,
control on yourself for some reason.
yeah. Yeah. And the reason is if I don't have this structure, I'll fall apart. You know,
Right. And
that's,
maybe even go back to drinking.
yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Mm.
Or back to the chaos that was, you know,
Yep, yep, yep.
in, yeah.
Yeah. So when I talk about not having control, you kind of can't relate to that, eh?
No, I do. I mean, there's, I've had moments and glimpses where I kind of have realized that it's all happening and I'm not in control. And so, in a way, talking about control this way, I realize it's, talking at that level. Um, and oh, Jack's asking a question, I think. But
Hmm.
yeah, the I that's where and the whole in recovery, the whole idea of a higher power and all that kind of thing, in a way, is like not being in control and handing over control. That's the whole program.
Yeah, but it's a tricky one, isn't it? Because you're handing over control to some other control, to a higher power control.
Well, some people are, but it depends. You can have your own sort of way of relating to that. Mine's not a sort of entity.
Mm.
It's more handing over to just what is or the universe or whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's funny, I could click into that mode and be completely in there for a while, but then controlling reasserts itself or whatever, and I start to go back to sort of,
Yeah.
slightly neurotic, sort of controlling, planning, so on.
Okay. Yeah, I get that. Okay. So that's a good possibility for you to experiment with that, right? So that if you can click into that place for a couple of minutes, or do it just before one of those externally imposed things, routines would normally be done, just to have a look at it. And you can click back out of it and go and do the routine if that's what comes up. But when you're about to go meditate, for example, click into that and ask yourself, oh, from this place, is that what I want? Is that what the impulse is
Right.
to do?
Mm.
So we're playing with that should thing. Now,
Oh,
nothing's
a lot
wrong.
of shoulds.
Nothing can be
A lot of
wrong.
shoulds in my life.
Yeah. So it's a case of experimenting, being curious, just about where they insert themselves and how deeply they insert themselves. Not trying to change them, because noticing them is what will change them. You don't have to exert any control to make them different. And there's nothing
Mm.
wrong with them being there. There's nothing wrong with them not being there. It's really, you can't possibly do anything wrong. So it really is a case of just being open to whatever comes up. And of course, the obvious one, well, it's obvious to me, is you've got to be really careful about stories that come along, giving it meaning. This means something, because that's always a
What,
diversion.
what what means something? What how I feel
The story
or
that you
what
come
I'm.
up with about
Mm.
what's going on.
Okay, right, yeah. I mean, the alcohol. But I mean, Jack's question was talking about being out of control and not liking it. And, the alcohol for me was, it was about the stress of trying to control the uncontrollable, or trying to be in control. Stress levels would get so high that the alcohol was a way of just going, fuck it, I'm going out of control. So it was always
Mm,
out of
mm.
control. That's the way I used to do it,
Yeah,
because that's what I wanted. I
yeah,
wanted to just, and the consequences were horrible, but being out of control was so needed at times. You know.
right. So, so what that immediately did for me was brought up a story that's possibly relevant, and that was that you were at one point in your life very controlled, and this was a rebellion against it.
Mm, yeah, I'd say that's fair.
So here you go. You know, at some point you you did it in a very maladaptive way, but you really felt restricted by the rules, by the control,
Yeah,
and so there was a breakout that happened. And,
yeah,
but now you're imposing your own rules in order
yes,
to do that. Yeah. So you're doing the very thing that and so there'll be a part of you that wants to break out again, for sure.
yeah, very much so. Yeah,
Yeah. Recognizing that breaking out of that can be done in an adaptive way. It doesn't have to be with alcohol. It doesn't have to be doing crazy things. It
yeah,
can be in your own way. Yeah. So
yeah.
learning
Oof.
to be spontaneous starts with learning to be authentic with yourself. What is it that's really going on inside you? Not how you should be, not stories about who you think you are, but what is actually happening. That's a
So you're just saying that. So, sorry to interrupt, but
yeah, no
just
worries.
like in terms of like how to sort of um approach it today. For example, I've got this stuff in my calendar, self-imposed. Even the work that I'm doing is something I've chosen to do. It's a structure that
Mm,
I'm imposing on myself effectively.
mm,
Um, And you're talking about just notice my relationship to each of those things,
Yes,
not
yeah,
necessarily
yeah.
not doing them, not necessarily not
That's
doing
right,
them, but
exactly.
just
Yeah.
just right.
And there's a crazy thing that you can break out of that and not do them because you have to do them, but do them because it's appropriate to do them.
Mm,
Right. So it's you're doing exactly the same thing, but it's coming from a totally different place.
yeah, yeah. I mean, yesterday, beautiful spring day here. It's gorgeous in the back in the garden, but I'm sitting in this little office in the top of the garden in a dark room editing, getting frustrated and then, you know, looking outside and it's
Yeah,
crazy.
yeah, yeah. See, it's kind of like you look outside and you go, oh, geez, I'd really like to be out there. I don't want to be here, but I've got to do this. Knuckle down and
Yeah,
do it. Yeah.
that's right.
And you can even promise yourself that when you're finished, you can go out there, right? But in
Yeah,
fact, if you
yeah,
just put things down and went out there, took a deep breath, you could turn around and come back in feeling quite different about the whole thing. And you're
mm,
only out there for like 35 seconds,
yeah,
but it
yeah,
changes everything because you're not having to do there, do that.
yeah. Okay. Well, um, thank you. I feel like I should pass on, but I will.
Yeah.
That's very useful. Yeah.
Yeah, good stuff. Yeah, the curiosity. Love that word, curiosity, and what that is in your relationship. Be curious, and it's really
Mm,
weird, but curiosity kind of has a sense of humor. It's
yes.
yeah.
Get that. Yeah.
Mm. Thanks, Dom.
Yeah. Thank you.
Hi Vince, how you doing? Or
Good, Jack.
just said hi. Have you ever noticed that you tend to like build a rhythm with people while you're talking? Like it starts out kind of whatever, and then it slowly goes like boom, 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 and then slowly I don't
I've
know,
never
it's
noticed.
no, because I've noticed it happening when I'm talking with you. It seems like we're circling something, and then suddenly it's like landing, and I just saw it with you and Dom for the first time. It was kind of cool. Anyway, uh,
Yeah, that's really interesting. It's I enjoy that you notice things like that. Yeah, that's good.
yeah. Um, I don't know. I guess there were two things I kind of wanted to talk about, and I'm curious which one sparks anything for you. Is first, in like the hours leading up to this meeting, it was like voices in my head were having conversations with you nonstop, but you never said a word. It was just like I'd say something as if I was talking to you, and then I'd be like blocked into a new set, like almost like self-refuting or like I don't know, does that make sense? Like not an argument in my head, just a it was weird. It was weird. Just like saying so much. And maybe the second one is I've been experiencing a lot of angry moments in my life recently where I'm weirdly angry and kind of childish in some ways. And then like my girlfriend's been more mad at me recently. Just a kind of a weird dynamic, and like we never really used to have an angry relationship or like a fighting one, and it's never violent or anything. It's just more argumentative and hot. in a way I don't like. And really, my question was is like I don't know how to do. I don't. Anger is always an emotion that I've kind of learned is like you're not supposed to have it until you need it to use it to like express a stop or a no or like to tell someone off. But it's like it's not like a good emotion is kind of what I've learned about it. Um, yeah, I don't know. That was it. Those were the main things.
Hmm. Going back to the first one, when you're having that I would call it a psychodrama where you're taking the role of two people and doing and having a conversation like that. Did you see that as a, a useful, positive thing, or was it something else? Was it frustrating, or was it what?
So a couple different ways. Like first is a recognition like I can't predict what you're gonna say in real life. So there's some like extra delusion to thinking that I know what would be said in a conversation that I'm having in my head.
Hmm.
Second is I often can't really stop it, and it just kind of rolls and is a lot of noise and like I'll be walking like a mile and that'll be rolling and I'm not seeing a thing in the walk.
Hmm.
So
Right, yeah, that's when you get busy. But that's a follow on from the original thing, though, eh?
I don't.
Okay, let's just come back a little bit. What what I'm wondering is when you're having that conversation, when you say you can't predict what I'm going to say, do you find when you're having those conversations that you say stuff yourself that I might have said that you didn't think of to say as Jack?
The um maybe I don't know how to. I don't know why your questions are not fully making sense to me. I would say that it's almost never a repeat of a conversation we have had. Maybe there's a line like I'll be maybe I'll have heard you say like, but you don't have control, and then we'll spitball on that for a while. But
Yeah. So what I'm saying is there's a part of your mind that does know. The prediction is perhaps not the right thing, but you do know where I'm coming from. A part of you does, and it may well be unconscious, or it may be not so obvious. It may be out of sight, so to speak. That that you can access that way. So if you just do that like what would you call it, a stream of consciousness, where you're just spontaneously allowing stuff to be said and then responded to, you discover things. Is that part of how it's been happening for you?
sure, I would love to say yes. I would love to have an answer. I don't know how to answer your questions right now for some reason.
Yeah.
They're
Okay.
just scraping
That's
off me.
fine. Yep. So why did you bring it up? Why did you tell me about it? What purpose?
I don't know. Um,
Do you want to understand it? Do you want to stop it? Do you want to do better? What are the possibilities?
I don't really know. I can say I can't say a whole lot. Um, when I did bring it up, it was I was rolling through like 1,000 different questions to ask, a mile a minute in the hour before this, and these were the two that seemed like sort of like I could say them, or it seemed sort of relevant for some reason.
Hmm.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't really.
Hmm. So what if I offered you that maybe these two were questions that were most likely to for you to make some kind of a discovery?
Maybe. Yeah, I don't know.
Mm. Okay, all right. So, well, look, what all I can say about that kind of thing is I like it. I think it's a good thing to be able to do, and it's not really me. It's you. It might be kind of like coming from where you imagine I am, or something a bit more so, but it's still you. And we all know stuff that we don't know that we know, and that's a way of discovering some of that stuff.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I don't know. Um,
So, all right, yeah, we can come back if you like, but yeah, but moving on to the anger thing.
sure.
If I was to offer you several ways of describing it, would you say you have anger in you? Would you say you sometimes experience anger, don't know where it comes from, don't know what it's about, just there it is, an experience, occasional experience, or more recently, more frequent, but still it's an experience that turns up un, un, unbidden and we don't know where from? Or would you say it's you? Is it Jack? Are you an angry person? Is it part of your being to be angry? How would you describe it?
So two things came up. Is one maybe the idea that it's not it's the parts of me that I don't like.
Right?
So like it is me, but it's a it's that part that I keep down maybe. And the second
Yeah.
part is like it's like I feel helpless and foreign to it, which I guess kind of goes hand in hand a little bit. But yeah, it's just it turns up and I'm like it's the biggest emotion where I'm like I don't know if I express this. I don't know if I need to calm down. Sometimes I express it and it's really good. Sometimes I express it and I'm like I that was terrible. Like this is just getting worse.
Hmm.
Yeah, it shows up in a bunch of different ways. I call them all anger and it's from my perspective fairly recognizable as anger. I know that's a label, but it's
Yeah,
like
yeah, sure, but it's beside the point. Do you see that it's an overlay on something else?
what would you mean? Or what would be maybe, but I
In and of itself, anger is pretty useless. It's not condoned socially, and it rarely achieves anything good. I mean, we could imagine the circumstance where it does, but mostly it doesn't. So it's a pretty desperate attempt to achieve something that it doesn't really work for. So
okay.
I would always see anger as a way of expressing something deeper.
Okay. I would maybe be like, let's say first you struck a nerve, but I am curious because it is like one of those human emotions that shows up in everybody. Like, why is it a use? How do we have a useless emotion? I've seen you express anger before, for example. I can say I feel defensive right now. Maybe even angry, mildly angry.
Hmm. Is it growing?
Um, yes and no. Like, there's a lot of very aggressive thoughts in my head. Uh, like I'm smiling. I'm not really sure.
Hmm. So, I mean, that's smiling, for example. That's really interesting, isn't it? I mean, you weren't thinking of anything funny, were you? That's
Uh,
smiling was a version of your anger. It was a way to distract or a way to express something that's going on at a deeper level. Whether would it be embarrassment? Would it be was it a more appropriate version of your anger itself? I mean, if all right, let's play this game,
how about
right?
this? I can at least say that maybe feel smiley, like there's some joy or happiness to
Oh, okay,
this.
good. Well, that's good.
So
Yeah,
it's not
okay.
just like smile boiling underneath.
Yeah. All right, excellent. Yeah. So imagine if you were to be really, really angry and shouting at me, telling me to fuck off and whatever comes to mind. Just imagine. We don't when you don't have to do it, but just imagine that you were doing that. You were really, really spewing anger out at me.
Yeah, I
What
could say
would what
that
would you be what
part
would
of
you
it
be
feels kind of
saying?
good.
Yeah.
uh, I don't.
You just go with your imagination. Don't have to be accurate or right.
Mm, the first thought is like I hate you,
Hmm.
which doesn't.
Tell me about that. You fucking hate me because of what?
Mm. The first thought that comes to mind is there was one time you yelled at me, and I remember like seeing a little flash of like Baby Jack in my visual field. Uh, and even in hindsight, I'm like, I'm not really sure why he yelled at me or what we were talking about, but I remember maybe feeling hurt or kind of confused or
Yeah. So play that through a bit, right? So just imagine that I've yelled at you again now, and you felt something, and you kind of got in touch with Baby Jack, right? Who would do what to Baby Jack if he got hurt and lashed out, angry, or would it be angry? Would he lash out with anger, Baby Jack, or would he just
Wait, are
cry?
you asking what Baby Jack would do if you got yelled at again? Is that the question?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Um,
The fantasy is all I want. Yeah,
yeah, that's maybe the issue. Is that part would totally be. I'll humor you, or I'll try. He would maybe feel that love is a lie. Does that make sense? Like he'd
yeah,
feel a little
yeah.
confused.
So he would feel alone, abandoned, rejected.
I think abandoned was maybe the closest. Um, I don't know, lots of thoughts. Worthless came up.
Yep.
Um, yeah, I don't know.
And so, what would he have learned to do in order to get that love? It's fantasy. Just follow through with the fantasy. Don't not worry about anything actual.
No, I know. Uh,
He'd smile for a start. That's a big one here. And if he smiled and he was happy, he'd be loved. He wouldn't be abandoned.
maybe. Smiling feels good. um,
He has to learn the rules, doesn't he?
maybe he has to conform. I guess that's similar.
Hmm.
He has to. It's imagination. I've been. I told you a while ago that my imagination solved my koan for me. And that was the first time I'd used the imagination. But now like today I was kind of realizing because I'm on Liberation Unleashed just how much of the I or me or control is found like in this imagination space or maybe thoughts. I don't really know.
Mm.
And I can say I did not appreciate that when I realized it. Lots of eyes in that sentence, but
Mm. Yeah, it kind of takes away the possibility of knowing what to do.
yeah,
Thanks, Maria.
have a good one, Marie. Sure. I can say that for some reason right now I feel very sensitive to disapproval. Like I don't really want to look at you. Or
Mm.
I do, maybe I do, but I want to see certain cues. Or, does that make sense?
Yeah,
And I'm fidgety and
yeah. So that is big, isn't it? That's a really huge one. That you have to you have to conform to get approval. You have to follow the rules.
sure.
You certainly can't be
Attention, maybe. I've
angry.
noticed attention a lot recently is like attention seeking behavior.
Hmm.
think I'm more judgy about that one than you might be.
Yeah, well, I've no doubt. This is a crux of everything. This self-judgment is what shapes what's acceptable and what's not.
Yeah.
What about the aspect that you have to be super vigilant when stuff starts to creep in that's not acceptable or it gets close to the edge of acceptable? You've really got to be on the ball to watch out for that stuff, eh?
What's weird is it never feels like I'm intentionally predicting. It feels like I'm noticing and then rallying up a defense. I guess that could be what you're saying, or a response. Just the predictive part is often is less me than the one who sees the prediction, or so that makes. I don't know if I'm responding to what you're.
Yeah. So I get that. So it kind of like once removed, you're watching the watcher.
Sure. I'm gonna say no, but I don't know. Here, give me a sec. Um,
You want to attend to something else there? You go.
no, there's just someone in the room. It's okay. Here.
No, it's not.
Huh?
It's not okay.
No.
Okay by me. I don't mind, but yeah.
No. I mean, it's a. I'm in a public room that I have figured out is always empty, but there's stuff in here that people can absolutely use. So it's actually empty now.
Right.
You're right, though. It did not feel okay. Or yeah, you struck on a nerve last time when you, or a couple meetings ago. You said there were two parts. It was first that I kept telling myself it was okay over and over and over again, which was funny because I never noticed myself doing that a whole lot. And then the second part was you said that I had maybe some belief about being too much. And that was when you started saying that, I was like, okay, Vince, we got to stop talking. Um, I'm just spitballing, of course, but
So you've thought about those a bit, eh?
never knew what to do with them. It was just interesting that you picked up on it, and it made me have to back out for no clear reason.
And it's interesting that you bring it up again, like you want to play on the edge there a bit.
Maybe I. I'm not gonna say that. Um, I don't know. I'm playing. I never know what to say. Sometimes I try random
Yeah,
things.
that's okay.
Yeah, I hope so.
So you're saying that when I first said those things to you, you weren't readily in agreement with it, but that you thought about it and realized that there was some truth to it.
Maybe. The reaction was just so weird. It was like I literally had to stop you from talking. Like I didn't want to go anywhere near it, and it hurts. Like it was
Mm.
physically uncomfortable.
Hmm. And yet you bring it up again now.
Yeah. Well, okay. I assume there's some value there.
Mm.
Um,
So did you notice in your general experience, did you have a recognition of that happening at some point?
I noticed one time trying to convince myself that I was okay, and then I was like, wait, I'm not really okay. And then I think that happened once, and it was like that was it. And I maybe like half cried for a couple seconds, and then got that out of me. And yeah,
Mm.
whatever's happening right now was kind of the opposite
So you
almost.
you caught yourself lying to yourself, saying you're okay, and then you realize that you weren't. So was it about the fact that you were lying to yourself, or about the fact that you actually weren't okay in that instant when that happened? Or something else, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I can't say it's like so today with the Liberation Unleash I stuff. There was definitely a feeling of when I realized that it was imaginary. There was a realization that it was intentional deceit of pretending it wasn't imaginary. Some of the I, or maybe all the I.
Hmm.
With the okay stuff, it was more just like a recognition of like, oh, I was operating in one lens and it wasn't quite accurate. There wasn't a blaming component there.
Mm-mm. But with
So
the not okay stuff, there was a judgment.
no, 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 the opposite. With there was no judgment with the okay, not okay. There was a judgment with the I,
Right. Yep.
or at least it felt like me lying to me, as
Yep. Yep.
silly as that sounds, under the no me paradigm.
Hmm.
But yeah, that's how I interpreted it.
Yep. So you didn't get that that's the way you've been conditioned, and that lie is a consensus reality, that most people in the world operate under that lie.
Yeah, this sounds it might be egotistical, but like most people are not living inside my brain though. Like
Yeah. Yep.
there's a sense of I should know what's going on inside me that I'm doing to me, or
Hmm. So
it
why
seems
is that the case for
logical.
you and not for everybody else? Right? It's
Yeah,
because
maybe better question.
you're really intelligent. You're You've
You
got
got.
something
I
other
said it was
people haven't got.
egotistical. You said it.
Yeah.
I said it was egotistical. I. um, you're right. I think is yeah. I don't know. If I had to imagine, yeah, I don't know. I don't know why
Hmm.
I would
So
have thought
it's
that
really
everybody
interesting
should
that
know.
instead of you getting off on the buzz of freedom, recognizing that that illusion brings with it a whole lot of chains and cages, so to speak. Instead of getting off on that, you went down the direction of, oh, I was lying to myself.
Okay, well, partly because it's still happening, and
Yeah,
still happening in the way, and I feel chained. I still feel the sufferer. I still feel like the I. I still talk as if I'm I.
yeah,
Just
sure,
didn't,
yep, yep, yep.
you know. Um, so
But
yeah, I don't.
you just said it as if there's an I. And you can even go as far as to say it still feels like there's an I. But I know that's just a feeling. It's not what's actual.
There's even I'm not fully convinced that there's
Right.
okay. The very logical extension of a very real experience is that it's all imaginary because it was very clearly seen to be imaginary.
Yes.
Or yeah.
Yeah.
So
So doesn't that just make a whole lot of the chains drop off?
yeah, but logical isn't.
No, no, the experience, that recognition that it's imaginary. That was your experience. It wasn't just an intellectual thing, was it?
Yeah, I don't want to be pinned into this for some reason. Uh,
Okay, yes, I get now. I get it. I get it. Right. Yes. So what happens if you go all the way? Oh, you're going to be in trouble, aren't you?
do you mean in trouble like in danger or like
No, no.
mommy daddy in trouble?
Mummy and daddy in trouble. Yeah. Well, that's right. Well, you said it. Um, you'll, you'll,
Yeah,
you'll no longer be bound by the rules.
yeah, that's real. Or
You can still pretend to the world that you are, or you can still do what you would do if you were controlled by the rules, but you're doing it because you recognize there's consequences to not doing it, not because you have to. Do you get that there's a world of difference, even though the same outcome appears on the outside?
I don't know. I'm not really sure.
Right. Okay.
I guess I could give your question some thought. Um, you said that there's a big difference between being bound and pretending to be bound because it might be net or it's often necessary. So like following the rules because the rules do have effect.
Well, no, it's like I don't know. This might be a shitty analogy, but let's say you're walking along the street and you see a bunch of bikers sitting on their Harley Davidsons on the edge of the road, right? And the inclination comes to you that you'll go up to them and tell them they're all fucking idiots, and you know that if you do that, they're going to beat you up, right? There's a recognition of consequences, and so that stops you from doing it, right? Or you stop yourself from doing it because of that recognition. On the other hand, you're going along and you go, it's just wrong to do it. I won't do it because it's wrong. Now, in both cases, you don't do it, but one of them you don't do it because you recognise the consequences or possible consequences, and the other one you don't do it because the rules say you shouldn't do it.
Yeah.
Same
Okay.
outcome, same behaviour on the outside, but one of them you're really relaxed about, and the other one you're really tense about.
There's a feeling of wanting to stabilize my understanding of what is happening right now.
Hmm.
Because like nothing is really changing in my experience, but it feels weird. So I'm really only half listening to what
Yeah.
you're saying.
Okay.
I'll be honest.
Yep. So that destabilized that weird state that you've got. It's kind of working to rearrange itself. It's looking for integration. It's looking for something.
I liked what you said about rearranging itself as opposed to, yeah, that clicked or that tracked.
See, the old way would be that you've got to work it out in your mind. You've got to. It's like trigonometry. You've got to have this intellectual, logical satisfaction that comes from doing it that way. But that's not the right way. Right? The right way for you is to look in your experience for confirmation of that possibility or refutation if that's what turns up
Of the rules thing?
of your recognizing that the I is imaginary.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Or I have to imagine it to go look for an eye, is all. That's it. That's the only
Yeah,
bit.
yeah. But see, the consequence of that is huge. If there's no I, then there's no responsibility. There's no control. There's no morality. There's no good and bad. There's none of that stuff if we take away the I from underneath it.
Says who?
But we can look at the
Uh,
I from those
I'm
perspectives.
responsible to not dump this water on someone.
That's a good story.
Yeah, I said I, didn't I?
Yeah. And you probably wouldn't do it anyway, normally speaking, simply because it's like, you know, you recognize the consequences of doing it. It's not
Yeah.
appropriate to do it,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
Under certain circumstances, you might do it, but essentially, that's
So what
what
are
would happen.
you? What are you? Um, I recognize the word you as a story.
Well, I would have to say, are you talking about the absolute or the relative? If you're talking about the absolute, I would have to say I have no idea what I am. I could just be. a software program in somebody's computer game. I could be a character in a dream, or I could be, who knows, make up any story you like. I'd have no idea whether it's right or wrong at an absolute level. At an experiential level, it doesn't make sense to say I am anything, but I can kind of push it a little bit and say, well, what what my current experience is as close as I can get to being something. But then I immediately go, but I really don't know what my current experiencing is. That's open to interpretation. I can tell you bits and pieces of how I feel, but that's probably about as close as I can get to what my current experiencing is. So in practical terms, it's a nonsensical question. I have no idea what I am.
Yeah.
But I do know that I operate in the world without feeling in control or out of control. That actually the idea of control is about as nonsensical a question as the first one. So you can see that happening, can't you?
Yeah.
So what I would say, as close as you can get to being able to put words to something, what you are when you're watching that is you're the seeing. So that's kind of, it's not a separation. It's not a somebody watching it or somebody seeing it. You're the seeing itself when that's what's happening. But see, that's an arbitrary thing. It's a made up thing. But it's as close as we can get to reality.
Okay.
So rather than go, what am I? What if you went, what am I not? That to me makes a lot more sense. And if you can put words on it,
I could maybe say
you're
I'm
not.
not one of the thoughts that I just had.
Hmm.
But that.
But but the thought occurred, didn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. You didn't invite it. You didn't command it. You didn't reject it. It was just there for a period of time that you can't even define. You couldn't even imagine. It was there for about 0.0005 of a millisecond. And then after that, there was memory of it. And even though you might be able to put words to what the thought was about, the thought didn't really appear as words, did it? It was something really quite impossible to define when it happened. There was just this flash of impression.
Sure. Yeah. Who is in this group chat? Oh, Tammy.
Jack,
Hi, Tammy. How you doing?
sounds like you
I
had
was
some kind
just
of shift.
maybe. I was just thinking that
Maybe.
I was just
I like that.
thinking that I was just thinking that I've been talking for a long time.
So, like a first glimpse.
Nah, no. I've had
Lots of them.
Yeah, but don't think of that as a comparison point or necessarily a good thing.
I'll try not to. It sounds like a change. It sounds new or interesting.
Yeah, that's true.
You're just struggling because you're not absolutely sure if you see it and because you're still struggling. So,
I'm just feeling a lot.
mhm.
Very emotional. Um,
Because of that or in general in life stuff?
no, just because of right now.
Mm.
Thank you. Uh, How are you?
Let's stay with your emotion for a minute, Jack. Tammy will tell you how she is later.
Hmm.
Okay. I
What's
just
very
had the
emotional?
thought
Tell us
that
about
I
that.
was the emotion, and that was kind of a unique thought. It was a Yeah, that was a moving around a lot.
Yeah,
I never know what to say. I'm so sorry.
that's
I'm
fine.
sorry if that's such a strong thing is to hate, but I knowing what to do is something I can probably leave behind. But
So, what did Tammy say that took you to that place?
uh, of what? Which part? Just emotional?
Hmm.
Um,
She was asking you to accept that you'd had a shift. There's no emotion up there, is there, where you're looking and thinking?
yeah. Uh, yeah. No. The It's like 4D chest vents. I don't. Just
Did I say what it looks like?
can you say what it looks like? Is that what you're asking?
Yeah.
Sure.
I mean, I don't know, but the story here is that it looks like you're a little frustrated because you had some kind of a glimpse of something, but you're not even sure if you did, but you think so, but it's not stable and it's also not making you feel any better or clearer. Not even about if something has happened and you wish it was clearer, you wish it was like helping you stabilize your experience or that you felt different or that you were sure about the experience. And now you're just all
Um,
confused about all of it.
I'm gonna say no, but
Okay, you can try.
uh, that's okay. Just that I don't know. It's that you were sort of on certain part where you said the lack of clarity in the way that I want to have clarity is very much still there.
Mm.
Um, there's, yeah, like I'm still playing the game
Mm,
of me trying to solve my mind in real time with
yeah,
other people.
yeah. Actually, that's a really interesting one because it's a really common belief that clarity is clarity of the mind, right? And it kind of like it's kind of immediately you can go, I feel sure. Yeah, that's an interesting statement, isn't it? I feel sure. What are we describing? I feel the body, sure the mind.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's a tricky one, isn't it?
yeah.
But clarity is something that is not definable, and clarity is actually that feeling rather than a logical conclusion that is satisfactory. The mind promises satisfaction, that's the way it works, and it wants to take you up to the mind, but you rarely ever get satisfaction in the mind. As soon as you get close to it, it's on to the next one. So but that feeling of clarity, that's what clarity is really about, which is a relaxed feeling.
We'll stick with that, the relaxed part, because a lot of the
So can you have clarity about not being clear?
yeah. Um,
So getting
temp,
familiar with what clarity is the quickest way for you to get clarity. But once you so take anything, take that I'm not clear about this. Am I really sure about that I'm not clear about it? Yes. What does that feeling feel like? Being sure. That's clarity. Being sure, there's no question. It's just obvious, isn't it? And we can relax into that knowing that we don't know, that we're not sure. And as soon as you get a hold of that feeling, you can start applying it to other things. Does it fit there? Does it fit there? Yes, no. It's a great technique. And of course, attached to that is all these stories about the value of being clear, when in fact they're just stories. Is there something wrong with not being clear?
uh,
Or with what you were doing with your knuckles and your eyes just then, you could say we could use not just the term not being clear, but rather not seeing clearly. I can't see clearly.
yeah.
What are you clear about, Tammy? With Jack?
I'm clear that there's some glimpses and a lot of discomfort. That's about it.
Yeah, that's real. Or is it? We'll never know. I'm reminded of your new story of the only permanent is change. Or
The story about stories.
yeah. But like I can't yeah, I can't seem to pin it down or just know or that I should be able to up for debate, but the
Who
want
said that? Who said you should be able to?
I that's why I said it's up for debate. I have an ego. That's the ego, the I. But
So there's so that's this is the wonderful, wonderful stuff. So you can take that. I should be able to, and then you can look at that story, right? Who said you should be able to? Why should you be able to? What's the value of being able to? Just investigate. Whatever comes out of your mouth is an opportunity. It's amazing. Whatever thoughts you have is an opportunity. Whatever your experience is an opportunity. Right. So you can say, oh, okay, it's your ego. Well, that's another story. That's a good one. So you feel okay. So, oh, you believe that story. It's not just a story. It's a good story that it should be this way or that way. Yeah.
I I do recall saying that it was up for debate. I don't believe wholehearted. Well, okay, maybe I do. Um,
Or maybe you do and you don't.
yeah.
Or maybe
Okay.
you do now and you don't in the next second or the last second or
But
whatever.
can
Yeah.
you even when I feel clear, can you see that I'm just so unclear? Like
Yes. And so what the outcome of that is not to get you feeling clear, but to get you to recognize that the whole thing is irrelevant. So you can be totally awake and not clear about some things.
yeah. Yeah. That's- You'll
But
say
of
something
course,
or
it's
I'll say something. And that's it. And it'll happen again. You know? I think it's Tammy's turn. Thank you, Vince.
okay. Just before we finish, then, Jack, we hadn't finished by miles, but anyway, just before we move on, um, did you have any insights into what's there before you think about it?
The insight for me, and it wasn't one I had, was just that I had to stop thinking about it, just let the whole thing go. Like, there's even keeping that that particular koan in your head and trying to like what is before thought? Like that's I don't know.
But you do know.
Well, it really felt like
I
a
know you
nice.
know. I know you know. I can see that you know.
I hate when you. I like when you
Okay,
validate
so
me,
let's
but I
let
don't. It doesn't feel
let's
helpful.
okay, let's crack this one. Can you hear can you hear the sound of my voice
Yeah.
when I'm talking? You're not paying it, don't pay it. I mean, you can pay attention to the words that I'm saying, but I'm asking you to listen to the sound of my voice,
Yep.
right? What is so interesting is that I could ring you up 20 years from now and say it's me, and you will immediately know it's me. And you think, how the fuck? There's billions of people in the world, and yet I can recognise that that's Vince talking by the sound of his voice, because he's the only one that sounds like that,
Sure.
right? Now we're talking about that sound. You know that sound, and until we started talking about it, you didn't think about it, probably. If I point out to the fact that you just licked your lips, you didn't think about it,
No.
but it was there, wasn't it?
The licking of the. Yeah, my hands are.
Yeah, yeah.
Yep.
And everything that you feel, everything that you see, everything that you hear, all happen before you think about it.
Oh, we're still talking about the. Uh,
Well, talking about it comes afterwards, though, doesn't it?
yeah. Yeah. Okay. I see what you mean. I think there's a delay between recognition and any
Mm,
action or.
yeah. And sure, we can only play with it using memory, but with that, there is a recognition.
I'm not sure I got you on that one. Or I interpreted that as you thought I was storytelling when with my last comment.
I don't know what you're referring to.
Okay.
Mm. So don't put that Cohen away. Play with it for the next few days as you as now having spoken about it. See what happens. Yeah.
I, I don't get it in the way that makes me feel like I should understand it more before I start. Does that make sense? Like,
Yeah. Okay. I get it. I do. It does make sense. Yeah. All right. So let me give you a modification of that same Cohen. Right. Where is the I before you think about it? I don't want an answer now, but play with that one.
okay. Okay. I want to say it's assumed.
You want to what?
Say it is assumed. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like we assume there's an I.
Right, but that doesn't answer the koan because the assumption is in thought, isn't it?
So any answer that's in thought is qualified. It sounded very harsh, but
Well, yeah, you could be right. It doesn't have to be. Maybe just the expression of the assumption is in thought. Maybe the assumption itself is not in thought. Yeah. So that's a recognition, I guess. Yeah, that's good. I like that.
okay. Smiling feels good.
Hmm.
Okay, I think.
Thanks, Jake.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you a lot. Is it?
Tammy.
Yeah.
Hey, Vince.
Hello, Tammy.
I guess what's happening here is um, first of all, it's encouraging to see changes with Jack. So just wanted to say that because it's like, yay. I don't know. It just feels like when things move, things move. Um, yeah, I guess for me, I was in a lot of turmoil. And then after our last talk, I felt a lot better. And I was like, um, I'd been in a flare of my system since last June, and I was kind of waiting for the colder weather and the clearer air to feel better. And then that only happened like January, February. And now there's a whole situation, and things are starting to get stressful around here. And I'm feeling the flare starting again. I'm starting to like, I was just sitting and I couldn't really function. I'm like, oh yeah, I didn't take anything. So I just got up and took some painkillers. In other words, I'm still like getting back into that place where I'm more stuck. Like I was walking more and feeling lighter and easier and more energetic. And now it's like, again, stuck in like brain fog and pain in the body. And soon it's going to be spring and the air will get dirty again and no rain for months. And I'm kind of, my system is like panicking of like, oh goodness, I was like waiting for 9 months and it was getting worse and worse. And I thought I might have to start medications. And then when the rain started, there was a huge relief. And just again, as I said, walking more and all kinds of symptoms were clearing up. And now they're starting again. I'm like, I can't just have relief for a few weeks, a year. And like, I might have to start medication. And what I started was like, I have to double down on this. Like, there's nothing left to tweak. I've tweaked what I could in my life, my food, my movement, my this, my that. All that's left is like, I need to tweak my mind, my mindset, and my nervous system activation. I'm like, I need to double down on this stuff. I have to something. I have to get my self talk, my nervous system activation state, my crazy mind, whatever it is. But that just threw me into like, I don't know, 24 hours of like obsessively ChatGPTing and trying to solve my talking and talking about my life, my family, trying to solve my patterns. It all seems all related and just threw me into the head again of trying to optimize my circumstances and conditions and activity, whether I need some kind of coach to help me through this, whether I need some kind of um, like whatever changes to bring about like calmness in the system and whatever. And I also did like this 10-week course on for like about polyvagal stuff and focusing and like nervous system regulation. It was especially for women who come from a background where you've had stuff and then you're not calm and you don't feel safe and all this kind of stuff in the body and how to bring the body. And the woman, she speaks like this. And now, thank you all for being here. Oh, thank you for showing up. Sarah, would you like to? And it's like listening to myself after listening to her, it's like everything I do, I need to activate so much. And so, in other words, I somehow either my brain doesn't focus if I don't have intensity, and also, like, so I was like thinking about this stuff for the last day. I was like, why can't I be in peace? And then it's like, well, I go into like drowsy zombie brain fog. And also, I create nothing because everything I do, whether it's uplifting my choir, whether it's getting my family together to play music, whether it's taking my nephew on adventures, whether it's anything, helping my brother and my aunt with health coaching, like, in other words, I helped my brother heal from like chronic fatigue that he'd had for years. He was like his highest weight. He was depressed. Within 5 months with me, bam, he lost 10 kilo and lost his chronic fatigue stuff. My aunt was working with a professional twice a week for a year and kept gaining weight. In 3 months with me, she lost 7 kilo and like was walking a marathon. In other words, but it's only because I bring so much intensity, Vince. I can't explain to you. My brother came with all his
Mm,
resistance, all his lifetime of negativity, of disbelief in himself, but throwing it at me, throwing it at me, throwing it at me. I gave him these 2-hour sessions, but like if you think I'm intense now, you don't know what a session is. I mean, just giving
yeah,
him like
yeah,
a combination of answers and pep talks. And after 2 months, bam, his resistance was lost, and that's it. He started losing weight. But it's only because I bring this intensity, and I don't know how to live life without it. And I don't know. I don't know how to live. I don't know how to. My system is so complex, both in my nervous system, my sensitivity, my abilities, my lack of abilities. I don't know if
yeah,
ADHD,
yeah,
autism, OCD, I don't know what's going on, but I don't know how to manage my life in a way that's not just spritzing energy at people and
yeah,
and and glowing, but then coming back home depleted and I haven't built anything for myself and I'm alone at home and everyone else is like
yeah,
married with.
yeah,
So I don't know how
yeah.
to
So
build
I
that.
was asking, how can you do that for him, but not for yourself?
When I think about myself, I get lost in 17-hour loops with ChatGPT and end up in despair and tearing my hair out.
Mm,
So I don't know because it's about my whole life and everything seems one causes the other. And then I just get into these loops and I can't get out of them. And
right,
there's,
yeah.
uh,
So when you use GPT, are you using my Discover Awakening bot, or are you just using general
sometimes and
ChatGPT?
sometimes. Yesterday, I think it was your bot. It depends because sometimes it only wants to say, but who's the one who's thinking? And I'm like, okay, I don't know. Can we,
Yeah,
something?
yeah,
But sometimes I think yesterday I did use it because sometimes when you start out with certain prompts from the beginning, it takes a different track. And then,
mm. Well, tell it, I don't like that direction. Take me in a different direction. Tell it, I think you're on board with your asking who's the one that's doing it. Don't tell me that. Ask me something else. Tell it,
yeah.
yeah, be aggressive towards it and tell it that you it's not working for you the way you're doing it. Do something different, and it will.
Hmm.
So how have you been still been going through the website stuff? How are you going with that?
No, in the last day or two, I completely forgot. I was just lost in trying to. I
Yep.
was so excited to kind of realize how, like, I was like, that's it. I'm done with all my patterns. I can't stand them. I need to double down on peace. That's the most important thing now to like, for my health, for my sanity, to avoid medication. And then that just took me into hysterical overdrive of trying to solve
Yeah,
my
yeah.
life so I
I
can
get
stay
that.
in
Yeah,
peace.
yeah, yeah. So you're right about the conclusion. You're just wrong about the way you're going about it. That's all. But you're not wrong. I mean, you're wrong, but you're not wrong. You're wrong. You're wrong. But that's the way it's got to be until you recognize that there's another way. And so it's right to be wrong. If if you get what I mean.
Yeah.
I mean, you've got these conclusions, and you and it's right that your enthusiasm, which you're calling your intensity, works with other people, but it depletes you, doesn't it?
Completely, especially when it's people who don't reflect back to me like, wow, you
Yes,
changed my life.
yeah.
Thank you. Like the opposite. And so with my family, it's depleting because they even put me down while it's happening. I mean, it's like ridiculous. But 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 yeah, it is depleting because I put way more effort than I get back, whether it's
Yeah,
kind of
yeah.
financially or even relationally. So sometimes you do get back, but it just feels like somehow I have to put in so much to get back a little bit.
Mm.
So even less would seem like it wouldn't, not just about getting back, but just the joy of creating those results. Like the relational the relational reward or joy of it or the togetherness of it is
Yeah,
one.
no, I get it. I get
Mental
it. I
ones accomplishing and being able to use your energy to create impact in the world is its own joy. And without the intensity, I don't think that would happen because that's my whole shtick. That's my whole strategy. In other words, it's the huge, tremendous energy and care moves mountains that otherwise wouldn't have moved. I felt I need to save my brother's life. That was my intensity coming in. He was depressed.
mm.
He was at a job. He broke up with his girlfriend. He was gaining weight and had lost faith in himself. And he couldn't get rid of this chronic fatigue where everything knocked him out. And I just came like a, you know,
Yeah,
bulldozer to pull him out of it.
yeah. But it's a tricky one. It, we can't separate them in narrative, you know. But that's a tricky one. So it wasn't that you were bulldozing. It was that you were high energy. It was that
Yeah.
you were expressing great love.
Yes.
You know, so it could be described as intense, and you could describe it as like bulldozing because of that, the momentum that you had behind it all. But that's not really what created it. It was that drive to save his life, that drive to do a good thing, that drive to express the love that you had. That's what did it.
Yes.
So it's a little bit like the same kind of thing that we were talking about with Jack earlier, you know, like having doing the same thing but coming from a different place. Right. So I see it as you by nature are big hearted and want good things for people, and you feel good about bringing any kind of skill that you've got to make that happen. Right. That's the way I see it. And you see it as the bulldozer engine. Same
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah. I do feel that way. I do feel, I know that it comes from love and a tremendous desire to like, I feel this emergency energy. Like also my father, he has cancer and is obese, and I often feel this desire to do the same thing for him kind of thing.
Yeah.
But he lives with people who would, yeah, not,
Yeah,
yeah,
that's a different story. Yeah, that's right. We have to put up with that kind of sadness that comes along from those that don't want our help when we imagine that we can give it, we've got it to give, but they don't want
yeah.
it. So that's another story. Yeah, that happens lots, I'm afraid. Yeah.
So on the one hand, I love this because to me, life is, boring and routine, and I hate giving in to like, well, that's the way it is. He has chronic fatigue and he's
Yeah.
going to slowly deteriorate. I love to create like tremendous change, but again, it comes at a cost, and it isn't building my life in any way. Like it's building
Yeah.
some
Yeah.
skill, but it's not. It's just spritzes of fireworks of energy, but I'm not building my own confidence or self or relationship with actual people who actually reciprocate, who care, who reflect back to me, thank you, you made a change in my life. But even if they would, it's still not building my own life. Like I haven't figured out how to regulate my own system in a way that I'm not ill, that I sleep well, that my mind is calm. Like I haven't figured out how to be not a confused chicken without a head and going back and forth between crazy
Mm.
and states internally.
Right.
And also,
And
Ben,
yeah.
I'm not sure if like everything that I think that I love or enjoy, I'm not sure if I really do, or if it's just a product of me being in this very highly activated nervous system state because I still haven't
Hmm.
calmed down from the hysterical emergency feeling of my whole life, where I was sleep deprived. I was kept up as a child to help other kids. In other words, there was a lot of stuff going on, and I kept rising to the occasion. But it created a lot of, I think, a soup of very intense hormones or whatever. And I think I still live there and I call that love or
Yep.
joy, excitement, but I'm not sure what is the pure, just I love people and want to help, and what is a trauma response of like, I need to save everyone or my only value comes from saving people. It's all very convoluted and I have no idea
Yeah.
how to
Yeah.
find my way out of it.
Yep. Yep. So you can't discover what's actually going on until you do calm down a bit. While you're in
Yeah.
that activated state, that just keeps you floating above it all, kind of thing, and you keep getting depleted, so you don't have the energy to do it as well. So that's another trick. Yeah. But you've had little shifts. You've seen moments of being how you imagine or even know are healthy for you. You've had those short periods where that's been the case, haven't you?
Absolutely. And
Yeah.
I've had deep calm and yeah, I've had times like that. Um, but somehow I don't stay there. I don't know if it's boring to me or I don't know if it's like partial. It's not using this intensity, which
Yeah,
also
yeah, yeah,
stress. I don't know. I don't know what it is.
yeah.
I can't seem to activate my brain from there to do things. I really don't know. Or there's a
Mm,
desire to change my life and I don't know how to go about it. And again, with my health coaching, I've been doing it for over 10 years. Like I need help with that. I need someone to help guide me through it so I don't go off crazy with my mind and, overdo or underdo, like just to keep me on the straight and narrow kind of thing. And I'm wondering, anyway, if I need other help or if I can just figure this out myself, how to build a normal structured life where I can use all of my, I don't know, it's very hard because I'm very complex, I feel, and someone else would need to understand me in order to help me build a system that could make sense for my system. I don't know.
mm. Do you get that you've got pretty strict parameters around how it can happen?
How change can happen for me?
Yeah, how you could get to what you're talking about.
I don't even know what I'm talking about, really. I don't know what it looks like. I just know that I want to
Mm.
feel and feel happier about my life and more confident in myself, but I don't know what that actually
Yeah,
looks
yeah,
like.
okay. So let's go back for a moment to your experiences where you've been calm, been accepting, been more like you would like, and you said you don't know if you can. Well, you didn't say the word creative, but I was guessing that that's what you meant, that you don't know if you can be creative or innovative or productive if you're in that state. Is that accurate?
Yes, and not only that, but in a way, in other words, as I said, I feel all of my change and everything I do, whether it's learning things for myself or helping others, comes from tremendous intensity. So even the
Mm.
other day, like after we had our conversation, I was feeling a lot better. The next day, I had to give a talk at night and be on camera and whatever. And um, I realized that I couldn't stay in that calm state where I was like really calm. I had to bring intensity because otherwise it would seem like I don't care or I wouldn't get the point across or I'd seem like some,
Yeah.
dumb psychopath or like someone who's just uninvolved is what I call a psychopath. But in other words, someone who just is like, hello, like robotic or not caring or not like you, it has no meaning. And so I
Yeah.
realized that I
So
was
is
bringing,
that the way you see me, Tammy?
no,
Let's be confrontive and honest here. Yeah. Do you see me as boring and uninterested and all of those things that you just said?
no.
Well, what's the difference? Why aren't I like that? I mean, I feel really creative every day. I mean, I've had quite a buzz today. You know, I've been working on a couple of songs and been really creative with them. You know, and I don't make it happen.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, I can't stop it from happening. It just pops up.
Mm-hmm.
The way you describe how you would be, I can't really relate to that.
Mm-hmm.
So is there something wrong with me, or is there something wrong with your description and your experience that leads you to that description?
Well, so it's like, so during that lecture that I had to give, I was like, I was aware that I'm kept ramping up, and I was like, let's try and experiment with keeping a more gentle tone. But it's like hard and boring for me to speak slowly and be calm. So I was
Yeah,
like, I still spoke pretty fast, but I tried not to. I kept like getting intense, and I'm like, okay, bring it down a bit, bring it down a notch. But it's contradictory to me. Like when I'm in choir, whatever, it's like an hour and a half of like bombshell intensity. I don't know. That's just how I like it. I don't know.
yeah. Now, so what if I said to you, you can be like that, but for with a different cause, for a different reason. And so rather than turning on the bulldozer engine and revving it up, you can be like that spontaneously, and it's fine. But the thing is that if you do it that way, it won't deplete you. It'll actually energize you.
Hmm.
Do you think that I get depleted after a meeting? I
I don't
don't.
know. You me. Hmm.
No, I don't.
Hmm. I need like an energy management coach, someone to teach me how to like use my energy in a way that's nourishing, I guess, rather than depleting. But
Mm, mm.
maybe it's
Yeah.
just a subtle
Well,
shift.
that's
It's
part of what
not.
we're trying to do here, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. But anyway, my mind has just been crazy revved up for the last 24 hours, just constantly
Mm,
running on how to solve things. I don't know what to do with this mind. And like I asked ChatGPT and it was like, well, all the conventional advice around put, a time limit on, like I was just deciding about whether to make something today at 12 p.m. or at 3 p.m. And I was getting anxious and for a while decisions have been much lighter, like easier. I used to obsess about these scheduling things much more, but it came back again. And so it was all about, oh my gosh, but what if it rains? But what if this? But what if that? And safety and security. There's like a million, 17, 23 different things. And then it's like ChatGPT was like, no, you have to, put a time limit on the thinking and then whatever it is, you decide at the moment. But that kind of stuff doesn't work for me. My mind, even if
Mm,
I would press send and say, you know what, let's do it at 12, I would still, there's a certain amount of like things that my mind needs to take into account and do it over and over, then maybe ask a person or two to make sure I'm not missing anything, make sure like suddenly I'll be like, oh wait, you have something else at 2 o'clock. And it wouldn't have occurred to me the first few hours of thinking about it. So the more I think about it, more things occur to me, and sometimes they're really important. And at some point, the mind comes to rest. It feels like it's been over everything. No new info is coming in. I've asked a person or two to make sure I'm not totally off. And then at some point, there's a lessening of anxiety enough that I feel, okay, this is safe enough to press send or whatever. And it doesn't help to arbitrarily say, well, make a decision now. This is stupid. Like none of this ever works for me. So just seems
mm,
like I need, and I'm wondering if that's the case with this ChatGPT stuff and going over like my history and my story and like patterns and noticing this and my new epiphanies about how I need to be calm. Maybe my brain just needs to like rev itself out, or maybe I'm just getting deeper and deeper into it. I don't know, because when I
mm.
try myself from thinking about decisions, it doesn't work. I need to obsess for as long as I need to obsess, and maybe here too, but I don't know. It's literally
Yeah,
driving me
yeah,
crazy. I don't know.
yeah. So on the last one, it's going to say we've got to fix you. We've got to fix this. Right? We've got to stop doing it and do something else. Right. So I'm not saying that. I don't. The way for you to change to start with is to be fully with the way you are now. And with acceptance of that and recognition of what the details are in that, it will change. Right? It's not going to change because you want it to. It's going to change because you stop trying to change it. And I get the contradictory nature in that one, but it's only when you fully accept what is actually going on, not the story about it. I mean, although that's we the story's there, the story's there, and we need to accept that as well. But there's a difference between the story about what's going on and what is actually going on. And if we accept what is actually going on, and if there's a story about it, we accept it as a story, that's also going on. But we don't say that that story is accurate. It's just a story that's turned up about it. But if we can look at what is actually going on and recognize it and not fight it, it will change. And it won't change because we're doing that as a technique to change it. That inhibits the change. We have to fully accept, to recognize what is going on and fully accept it, and then it will change. It will change. Not we will change it. It will change. Because when it's seen for what it is, it becomes different. I know that I imagine that you can only see that as a technique and as a skill and as a tool and as a doing. But if that's where we've got to start, then that's where we've got to start. That's okay. So
Yeah,
the
it's
first
more.
thing I want to tell you is that if your small experiences of whatever we want to call it, that being calm and whatever, however you want to describe that, if you felt that was a dampener on creativity, then I'm saying that there was something wrong with that as well that we could look at. But so let's start with that. The story you've got, that you won't be creative and you won't get anything done if you get into this state, that's a bullshit story and we need to get rid of it. We recognize that it's just a story. You don't know that that's a true story or an accurate story. You only imagine it is. And certainly your imagination is fueled by some of your experience in that. But still, there's more to it. That's all I'm saying. So where we want to get to is not a place you can imagine at this stage. So we've got a blank. Let's put up a something that a blank blackboard, if you like, or a whiteboard, whatever you like, but blank, nothing written on it, no pictures, nothing. It's blank. That's where we want to get, and we don't know what it is, and we don't know how to get there because we don't know what it is. So that's a good start.
Yeah, they were having this like vision board workshop online for free, and I'm like, I don't, so I didn't go, but um, yeah, because the blank thing sounds more like it. But um, yeah, I think it's like, so we're saying the enthusiasm is okay. I guess I'm afraid of losing the enthusiasm, and I'm
You won't.
ambivalent about
You
it,
won't,
but
Tammy. Let me tell you my reading of you, and I kind of I trust my intuition in this way because it's often borne out by experience. My reading of you is that you're a passionate person. So that's not going to
so will that
change.
change once I'm realized?
Yes, absolutely. You're not going to become a cool, calm Zen monk. That's not you.
Mhm.
The bloke who does become, or the person who does become a cool, calm Zen monk was probably already cool and calm before he got to be a monk. You're not. You're a passionate person. You'll get excited. That's not going to change. It's like me. I'm that way too. I'm a passionate, excited person. It's just personality. It's just their nature.
So all we gotta change now is this crazy mind that is confused and goes from one extreme to another, doesn't let me rest,
Yep.
and can't figure out my life.
Yeah. Well, that's where it goes wrong. That's what leads you into all of the problems, for sure. So okay. So let's say, oh, we've got a crazy mind, and if we can circumvent that mind, we'll be in a really good place to learn some new skills, right? How do we do that? You can't put a lid on it. You can't nail it down. You can't anesthetize it. It's a crazy mind. It's been doing it for so long that it does it automatically. So how can we do it? We're not trying to change the mind. We're trying to change our relationship to it. Now that's a big one. Do you get what I might mean about that?
Not really, because it seems that I need to use it to
Yes.
harness it to figure out my life, like I do with my health coaching, like I do with other stuff. I need to figure out stuff in order to improve my health, my well-being, my life. And I need
Mm.
to use my mind, but I can't use it because it uses me. In other words, it goes off. It goes haywire.
Yeah. So what if we let it go off? Let it do whatever it wants to do. Let it do all the planning and stuff. And let's just not be so involved with it. Let's just let it do whatever it wants to do and we'll go, that's okay. Right? So can you get when I say that we're talking about our relationship to it? We're not trying to control it. We don't want to damp it down. We don't want to do anything with it. We want it to eventually be less intrusive. But in the beginning, it's going to do what it's always done. And we're not going to try and change that. We're just not going to get sucked into it.
But I am sucked in. That's the thing. Some part of me still believes that it's necessary to do this because that's how everything
Right.
happened
So
in my life.
continue to believe that. That's
Yeah.
okay to believe it. But do you
Okay.
recognize that it's just a belief you've got? So we're not trying to change it, that belief.
Mhm.
Well, but because we recognize that it's a belief, we can also look for exceptions to that. But if
Yeah,
you
but
if you're
what's
sucked
the
into the
other way?
belief, you're going to ignore the exceptions.
What would happen? Just miraculously, I'll figure out how to improve my life or where I should live or if I should date or where I should work. In other words, It's not going to happen miraculously. I'm going to have to put thought into it. And when I start to
No,
put,
no, you don't. No, you don't. No, you don't. You know, you're like, you know, you're like the person. Here's an analogy for you. You know, you you're sitting on a seat in the park, and you're thinking about, will I date? Will I go on a date? And then you're thinking about all of the consequences of that, and where it might lead to, and will you end up getting married and having a good life, etc. And this really lovely person comes along and sits beside you, this man who has all of the potential for being a great husband and a good partner and a lovely and a person who will really appreciate you. He comes along and sits beside you, right? And says to you, "Hey, gorgeous," and you say, "Fuck off! I'm too busy thinking about whether I can ever find somebody to get married to." Just can you get that crazy story?
yes, I'm
Yeah,
thinking.
that's that's like what's going on for you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you say to him, "Look, I think a lot about this kind of stuff," and he says, "Would you like to have a cup of coffee with me?" And then you find yourself stopping thinking about all that stuff and thinking about having a cup of coffee with him. It will happen. It just happens, this stuff. It not doesn't happen because you plan it. It doesn't happen because you sit in the seat and look for potential partners walking around. It just happens or not. We don't control this stuff. It just happens or not. But the thing is, when you wake up, a frequent experience that people have is what I call serendipity. All of a sudden, things fall into place. All of a sudden, things work out in a way that you never thought they could. And is it magic? No. What it is people are more, they notice things more. They're more aware of things because they've got a different perspective on life. So you may well have missed out on a dozen potential suitors by now because you've been too busy worrying about whether you'll ever find a potential suitor. But you don't know. We don't. I mean, that may or may not be true. We don't know that. But you know what I'm saying is, while you're so wrapped up in your mind worrying about whether it'll happen or not, you might walk right past an opportunity. And when you wake up, all of a sudden you're relaxed and you notice those opportunities. And when you compare it to back before you were awake, you go, "Gee, that's like magic, isn't it? I never knew. You know, I want a parking spot and parking spots appear."
Feels like that's for people who have a charmed life. They just walk around and stars just twinkle around them, you know?
Well, my life is charmed. You know, I had to take my wife to the hospital this morning to get a checkup on a hand that she's had operated on a month ago. And this hospital, always the parking areas are totally full, you know. So I went to the day parking and I drove around and there was not a single available park. And we were there at 8:30 in the morning, right? Not a park. So I went to the long-term car park and drove around and there wasn't a single park anywhere. I had done the full circuit of the place and not a single thing. And then I come into this laneway and I'm thinking now, well, what am I going to do? Am I going to drive out and go down about a mile away and park on the edge of the road and walk back? And as I'm sitting there, a nurse came towards me and got in a car in front of me and pulled out and drove away, leaving me with a parking place. Now, was that magic? Did I do it? No, it just happened. It just happened like that. And it happens like that all the time to me. Now, I lied in that story because I never thought for a moment about driving a mile down the road and parking down there. But had I been so intent on getting a parking place, that's probably what I would have had to do. But as it
Mm.
turned out, I just had to wait for a moment and one appeared in front of me. And that kind of stuff happens all the time. And sometimes it doesn't. That's true too. So I'm not saying it's 100% perfect. I'm not saying it's actual magic. I'm just saying because we've got this relaxed, open perspective on things, we notice possibilities that we wouldn't have otherwise if we're busy with thinking about how to manage it.
So when I hear that, I get calm for a minute. I get excited. I'm like, oh, that sounds good. And then immediately my mind starts going, well, now we got to get to work because we got to get calm enough. How do we get calm? We need to get sleep. How do we get
Yeah,
sleep?
yeah,
Get
yeah. Okay.
discipline. And
So
then we
what I'm
got to get
saying
married.
is,
Got to get married.
and here's an opportunity for you. What I'm saying is recognize that opportunity, right? There it is. The mind says, let's get busy. And so what you can do is you say to the mind, all right, go for it. You go and get busy if that's what you want to do. I'm just going to watch. Right. So we get what you might describe if we want to put a description on it, is we get into a metacognitive state. Right. So we allow the mind to do what it wants to do. It'll go off and do all this work, and we just watch it. We're not
But
lost in it. You see, there's
it
the
needs me to
difference.
get lost. It needs me to be fully involved, just as with all of my
Right.
passion. It needs me in
Yes.
it. Like,
Okay. So how can you let it do it? I mean, planning still happens. Let's we're not we you will we will get to the stage where the mind will become very useful for the things that the mind is good at. But we also don't need to be controlled by that. Right? So when planning is appropriate, planning will happen. Now I can sit here and I can do sums in my head, and I can do 50 times 83.5. I can do that in my head with a fair bit of concentration, or I can just ask Siri and she'll tell me the answer. So do I feel like I'm cheating, or do I feel like I'm not making use of my mind, or do I? No. If it's the answer I'm after, I'll get it the easiest way I can get it. I'm not going to get lost in a judgment about it, how I get it.
yeah, I just keep on being like, okay, so
Yeah, just
like,
keep on
okay, this
keep
worked
on
for me.
looking to
How do I
be
do
of.
it? Let me, like, I just get totally feeling even more like I need to really desperately find, like, really,
Yes.
really work at it, get in there and really figure out how to be calm and what that
Okay.
looks.
Yeah. 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 So in the beginning, a great technique is if you get lost in it, which you will do because that's your habit, that's the way you've been doing it, you will reach a point where it'll come to you that you were lost in it. It might be as soon as it finishes, it might be during it, it might be as soon as it finishes, it might be after it's finished for some time, but sooner or later, because of this conversation, you will become aware that you were lost in it. And when you do, you laugh, right? So you don't laugh mechanically for the sake of laughing. You laugh as a celebration of the fact that you recognize that you were lost in it. And if you do that, celebrate the recognition that you were lost in it, you'll get better and better and better at recognizing getting lost in that stuff. And you will eventually even recognize that you're about to get lost in it. And by that stage, it'll thin out a lot. You won't get as lost in it. You will be able to watch that happening when it happens. And that will change it. Not because that's the intent to change it, although it is. It's in the background, though, that intent. It's not a case of mechanically fixing it. It's just a technique of changing the neural pathways in your brain, right? So, you know the story with synaptic connections in your brain turn into neural pathways, and those neural pathways, the more they get used, the quicker and more adept they become. They get stronger, as a way of putting it, if you use them a lot. And yours are very, very ingrained. You've been using them so long, so much that and part of that is to get you excited. You get a dopamine hit out of doing it, right? So essentially what we're going to do is that we're going to recognize that when it happens, and then that recognition will start a new pathway on the other side of your brain, in your right brain, not your left brain. If you're traditionally wired, that's the way it'll be, because your left brain is the calculating, judgmental side of the brain, and the right brain is the brain where it just notices. There are no words, no narrative. It just notices with a sense of awe stuff that happens. And that's what we'll do. We'll move over into the right brain and we'll allow the left brain stuff to atrophy through lack of use, right? But that takes time. We've got to get there by going slowly, working at it, working at it. And that laughing with recognition is a pretty fast way of doing it. If you do that religiously, every time you get lost in it, or rather, every time you realize that you were lost in a obsessive thinking, if you want to put it that way, right? Laugh, celebrate the recognition. 6 weeks from now, you'll be hardly doing that at all. You'll recognize every time when it's going to happen. And we don't try and stop it. The recognition alone will change it.
It's just that I feel that I do know that I'm in it. Like even now, I'm like, I feel like talking to you, I'm stopping the mind from going into it. Just it's like what it's like a tidal wave that it wants to go into again. I recognize that it's happening. I'm powerless to stop it because I still there's so much
Yeah,
momentum. It still
and
believes,
and right, and we're not trying to stop it. We don't want to apply effort to stopping it.
but
That's
also,
the
Vince,
last thing we want to do.
we don't want to apply effort because like what I was
Yeah.
telling you before, that intensity and enthusiasm creates change, let's say also in other people, and I'm still waiting for it to create change in me. And
Well,
I
it,
think
it
I
hasn't worked, has it?
believe strong. Well, it has with my own health and it has with other things in my life. So,
So why
um,
why are you here? Why are we talking?
yeah,
Because it hasn't enough. It hasn't in the right way. That's why
because
we're
it's not
talking.
fitting with the
Mm.
rest of the things and because it's driving me crazy. Yeah.
Mm.
So
You
there's
know,
an empty,
Tammy, let me
yeah.
say, you know, your persistence at this is a great plus, and I don't feel in the slightest bit frustrated. Maybe that's not quite true. I mean, maybe I do sometimes feel a bit of frustration, but I, I don't fight that. It's not a big deal, right? But essentially, I'm happy to repeat and go through this with you as every single meeting for the next 2 years, if that's how long it takes.
Mm,
And I'm not going to lose sleep over it. When I finish this meeting, I'm going to go out and watch TV with my wife, and I won't even think about it. I will a little bit until I do the video thing, but essentially it'll be, I'm not going to. I don't feel bad about it. I don't feel
mhm,
I'm not tied to a result.
mhm,
It'll happen or not happens. It's really not in my control to make it
mhm.
happen. As much as I want it to, it is just what it is. It will just happen as it happens. And if and it, yeah, I feel so good about you. You know, you've really made brought some wonderful joy into my life.
Hmm. Really? That's nice.
Yeah. Without you, I'd probably sit here and go to sleep. No, I've always got Jack. Yeah. Yeah, but you know what I mean. It's like why would I invest self-worth or reward of any kind in an outcome? You know, I'll certainly feel good if there's an outcome, and if I think there's no outcome and it's all done, I'll probably feel a bit sad for at least 5 minutes.
I don't know. I don't know what to do with myself. So you say I should just let it run and let myself
Yeah,
get
yeah.
caught up in
And
it?
I would say that you don't know what to do with yourself is a great place to start. That is really good. That is a major admission,
Should I try
right?
mushrooms?
I don't
I've
think
never
they'd be appropriate at
never
this stage.
substances, but I have done medical marijuana drops, oil drops once or twice for the Crohn's, but it just made me feel terrible
Yeah,
and
yeah,
didn't help anything. But
yeah.
that was just for pain, but it didn't do anything. But I've never tried like stuff like that.
No, I think no. If you were to do mushrooms, you would need to do them under supervision with somebody who knows their way around that kind of thing, and certainly no more than a micro dosage. But no,
Mm,
I would say it's not appropriate for you at this stage. You would just feel out of control and terrible, probably.
mm,
Yeah. Um, yeah. Not knowing what to do with yourself is a really, really good place to start with this, right? Because what's been a major resistance to what we want is the belief that you do know how to
yeah.
fix it and that you've got to work yourself up into a state and go for it in order to get there. Well, now that you're admitting that you don't know where to go, that's something worth investigating, looking at, and not coming to a conclusion, just recognizing that that's there.
Hmm.
See, all of this stuff that you've gone through, that you're going through, and that you've gone through, it's great stuff. You know, you wouldn't be here without that.
Hmm.
I would say everybody that I know that's woken up has great appreciation for everything that they might have once called suffering, because without that, they probably wouldn't have woken up.
And I think it expands our knowledge base as a person. Like because I've been through a lot of different types of suffering, you
Yeah,
kind of you know how
yeah,
to navigate through things. I don't know
yeah, yeah, yeah. You will be a fantastic help for lots of people, I imagine.
if I can come to peace around it. Yeah.
Mm.
I mean, even now I can be helpful just in the ways that I can be helpful with a lot of
Yep,
intensity,
yep, sure, yeah.
peace. But
And you'll still use that enthusiasm, except it'll come from a different place. It won't come with the belief that that's what's going to get the results. It'll come with the fact that that's what needs to be expressed. That's your nature to do that, and you will.
yeah, I don't know. I kind of feel a lot of what you say. It's just that I don't know how to live there or organize my life around that yet. Like I don't know how to be there, but
Yeah, okay. Yeah, do you get why I'm laughing?
because I still think I need to do it.
Yeah, that's exactly right. You get it. Yeah. because I don't know how to organize myself around that and make it happen. It's good.
It's really been excruciating, this mind that doesn't stop. I don't know what to do with it. But
Yeah. Well, appreciate that you don't know what to do with it. I mean, that's when. See, here's what I say. What I said to Jack earlier. Stuff that comes out of our mouth is revelatory. It tells us things. Right? So
mm-hmm.
you don't know what to do with it. Great. That's good. Get into that. Enjoy that. Look at it. Be curious about it. And then you start to realize, hang on, what do I mean? What to do with it? Oh, that's right. How much control have I got over it? Oh, okay. You see, they're all openings all the time. Of course, you don't know what to do with it. Well, be curious about that.
So I'm going to hang up and the mind is going to run, and I'll just try and get more curious around it rather than yelling at myself why I'm not stopping it.
Yeah. And if you don't, you don't. And if you do, you do.
Just wish there was something stronger, but
Yeah, yeah. You would like look, I'd love to have a red or a blue pill and to give you to instantly fix it, but I'm afraid I haven't got them. I'm all out. Mm.
and the mushroom pill you say not to take now, so
No. When things have settled down a bit, it may be more appropriate, but again, still under supervision. Yeah. You definitely need somebody to hold your hand when you're going through that.
mm,
And the right dosage is also important.
mm. Do you go through like alternative people or like psychologist type people?
Oh, well, it depends. There are I know in America there are what would you call it, associations. There are groups of people who do that kind of thing on a regular basis, and they will
Mm,
certainly look after you and that. I don't know about Israel, whether there's anybody there that does it. Yeah, probably are, but at this stage I wouldn't even bother looking. Just wait a
yeah.
while. Mm.
How about ayahuasca? Should I travel to the Amazon?
Same thing. No, the same thing. Yeah. I mean, they. It's like taking a sledgehammer to drive a nail. It's a big deal.
Mm,
But again, if you've got people who do it on a regular basis, and you don't have to go to the Amazon to do it, it happens all over the place. But
mm.
yeah, again, do it with somebody who knows their way around it. And
Just
usually
looking for
that's
a sledgehammer to stop my mind, but yeah.
yeah, yeah. Well, see, that doesn't stop your mind. All of those things take a lid off your mind, and your mind just goes berserk. So, and you will have realizations about things that you can't be described, can't be narrated. So, those realizations are sometimes helpful in terms of recognizing, oneness, or recognizing uh, that you and the trees are the same thing, and so on and so on. That kind of experience, but you need context for those things to be meaningful as
Mm-hmm.
well. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Context through talking to people who know about it.
Yeah, well, some people kind of imbibe or project magic into those things as well. But
Mm,
they're almost violent. So
mm.
that's in that sense, yeah.
And you can reach the same thing through drips and dribs,
There are
through just.
a lot of varieties of things, yeah. But I'd say what again, they're going to be also be very temporary things. And what we're looking to do here is create a much more uh, permanent shift in the way the brain works.
Yeah.
And that takes time. That takes
Hmm.
time and practice. Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Well, I'm going to wind up for tonight. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks,
Thanks,
Jack.
Vince.
Yeah. All right, Tammy. Hang
Appreciate
in
your
there. And just
thanks.
say, well, look, just go with this one. Whatever turns up, it's okay, and it's an opportunity for you to investigate, to be curious about the details of it. Don't
Okay.
come to conclusions. Don't, run off with any outcome. Just look, be curious. Yeah. And try that laughing every time you realize you've been lost in some thought train. Even if you fake a laugh, that's okay.
Mhm.
Just laugh as a celebration and see what happens.
Okay,
Yeah.
perfect.
Good night, everybody.
Good night. Thanks, Vince. Bye, Jack.
Okay.